Hey there, higher running coach and Hoka athlete Sage Canaday here with another training talk on speed training considerations if you're focused on like a 5K or 10K event versus a marathon or ultra marathon, kind of the differences in focus. Now, when I say speed training, we're generally talking about focused interval sessions, maybe on the track, hill repeats, tempo runs, stuff that's going to be faster than your goal race pace. Now, it kind of changes. Speed training for an ultramarathon runner is a little bit different than speed training for a 5K runner. But the general basis is that you're adding in high intensity intervals, high intensity training, and these are distance running events. You mainly need an aerobic base first of easy mileage. Check out my videos on aerobic base building first. But after you've built that, after you've had some consistency and maybe you're running at least 20 miles a week, 32K a week, controlled and easy, to really hit your full potential in these distance running events, to really maximize your efficiency at higher speeds and to progress and get faster, you're gonna have to add in some amount of speed training. But you have to control the intensity, and that's real key. Now, if you're focused on the 5K, and we'll say 10K and even half marathon, because those have more in common than the marathon and ultra marathon. Those are kind of different beasts. So 5K, 10K, very high heart rate values. You're looking at spiking your heart rate over 90, 95%, up to 100% maximum. 100% being VO2 max is what we call it. But also almost running at a very close percentage of your top end speed. Maybe not sprint speed, like if you were running the mile or 1500, but 80, 85% of top end speed. So having that leg power, that stride length, stride extension is very important, but also having that high end heart and lung power where you could clear lactate and go kind of anaerobic is also very important. But for all these events, the basis that we start at with speed is doing things like strides. I've done videos on strides. You can check that out up there as well as in the description below. But running light and relaxed for 100 meters, 20 seconds maybe, with a full recovery, introducing that into your easy, slow mileage and building that up, but then getting into things like structured workouts, be that hill repeats or intervals, fartlek sessions, stuff like that. Again, I'm throwing out these terms. You might not know what all of them mean, but the general principle and idea is that for the 5K and 10K, you're going to need a bit more of this interval speed work than for the marathon and ultra marathon. So the frequency of speed workouts is a main difference. In peak training for the 5K, 10K, half marathon, you might be doing 2 speed workouts a week at your peak. You might be going to the track, doing short intervals like 400-meter repeats, but then also longer intervals like kilometer repeats. Whereas the marathon and ultra marathon runners, you might do those same workouts, maybe not the 400s. You probably focus on 5 times a kilometer, 8 times a kilometer, but you'd only be doing that once a week. You'd only have to go to the track once a week. And the other speed workout that we could blend in there is the tempo or lactate threshold training, tried and true Jack Daniels distance running formula, 20-minute tempo run, basically a 20-minute run at 80 to 85% max heart rate, 85% overall effort. For a lot of people, it's going to be a little bit slower than your projected 10K race pace. That's a great type of workout for all these distance running events. And for the ultra marathon and marathon crowd, it's actually more of a speed workout because you're running faster than your marathon race pace, right? You're actually working on efficiency, moving your legs faster than the pace that you would race a road marathon at, because it's closer to a 10K pace. Whereas if you're a 5K runner, it's actually slower than your current race pace if you're just focused on the 5K. But it could be a good way to dial in 10K pace. And if you're focusing on a half marathon, it's still faster than half marathon pace. So we still consider that speed training, the tempo run training, because we're over 80% max heart rate. We're over 80% effort, so to speak. And we're working on some sort of what we call anaerobic energy contribution. Now, you still don't have to do these very frequently because for generally most of these events, you're starting off with easy conversational pace, base mileage. Getting your mileage up is a big first step. Then you start sprinkling in the intensity. And even during the peak season, even 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks before your big race, you're hitting the intensity hard, but that could only mean maybe 2 quality speed sessions a week for both of these events. Now, the other stressful event you might have as a marathon and ultramarathon runner is a pretty hard long run. And that's a huge stress. That could be something that takes days and days to recover from, that you're balancing with these tempo runs and speed work. Whereas the 5K runner, their long run's probably not going to be as long. It doesn't have to be as long or as hard. They're probably running slightly less mileage, but they might be going to the track twice a week instead. They might be doing those 400-meter repeats more frequently than the ultramarathon runner. So it's a balance, it's a trade-off, and it has to do with the speed, the velocity, the exact paces you're running at. And of course, we're talking about mainly flat road, uniform road, or buffed out trail types of runs. Generally, the ultramarathon runners, they might be doing trail races or hilly mountain ultramarathons, and you kind of have to throw pace more out the window. Whereas if you're training for a very specific road marathon, Boston qualifier sub-3, you should know exactly what your goal marathon pace is and be working down from that. What is 15 seconds a mile, 10 seconds a kilometer faster than my goal marathon pace? Well, I need to be hitting that in long threshold workouts, long threshold speed sessions, because if I can't do that, I won't be able to hold it for the whole marathon distance. Likewise with the 5K, if you can't do repeat 800 meters, 6 to 8 times 800 meters with a 2-minute rest, if you can't do that at 5K, at your projected 5K pace, how are you going to hold that for 5 kilometers, 5,000 meters all at once? So we're working at fractions of your goal race pace, so to speak, in a lot of these events. And that's kind of the beauty of speed work, is you have to be comfortable of running short intervals a couple notches faster, and then longer intervals maybe right around that race pace. You're working on getting the heart rate values up, but also the leg speed, the muscle tension, and stimulating fast twitch muscle fibers, which is going to boost your metabolism, much like high intensity weight training, but also mentally make you tough for that feeling of building up lactate levels and even lactic acid, that you'll get that intensity when you're racing the 10K or 5K and below. So thanks so much for tuning in. Those are just kind of scratching the surface. I got a whole playlist of training talks, 5K, 10K training on here, as well as a lot of talks on marathon and ultra marathon running, long runs, different types of workouts, fartlek, if you don't know what that means. Check it out. Be sure to subscribe on here. Thanks to the Patreon supporters for really making this channel possible. Again, hope you're doing well. Thanks to title sponsor Hoka, keeping the dream alive with my own career. Again, hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for watching. Check out our training plans, any service, any distance, at higherrunning.com. Coach Sandy and I sell them on there, as well as check out her channel, Running Wild. Thank you again. Hope you're doing well, and stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.